GM, GM, everybody. It's almost 2026. It's actually almost Christmas, to be completely honest. We're 2 days away. I think we actually have 2 shows left in the air, if I'm thinking correctly, because we got Christmas, and we're not going to do it on New Year's Day. So, yeah, just today to wrap up all the migrations, and then our 2026 predictions next Tuesday.
Nice.
Man, you're going to be speaking to nobody by that point because all of crypto is going to be dead and gone. Dude, it's just continues to get worse, but we continue to grind every single time.
I'm putting it in my calendar right now. Prediction show, just so I remember to do my prediction.
Yeah, I get this weird feeling that the market's just going to come roaring back randomly, just like it always does. It's going to be like dead, and then all of a sudden everything's going to be up like 30%. And everyone's like, what the hell just happened? Yep. It happens every time.
That is like a non-consensus take at this point. Seen it thousands of times. I mean, we used to have like the joke of the crypto obituaries and how many times the industry had been proclaimed dead. And now it just seems like everyone just think that that's actually the case when like reality, it's the furthest along that it's ever been. What a world to live in.
You do see like teams I saw today, Chris Coffey, who's worked with TO with Pizza Ninjas, has stepped down, and it's like you realize what's happening, right? All these teams are just trimming back, man, cutting to the studs because it's bleak out there.
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot of the acquisitions that have been happening are actually more so that the teams are going bankrupt and they're getting bought out like for pennies on the dollar, as we see a lot of the VCs even say. I saw this interesting post earlier today about Coinbase, which I kind of want to cover. But first and foremost, we're here because our migrating teams, today I think is our biggest Pump Fund migration end date. There's 7 teams that are finishing their migration. We've been on tons and tons of calls this morning. Still have a few more to go. As of today, Prompt and Swarm Node, Prompt Bidder and Swarm Node still have to complete their migrations, which they should be doing shortly. We also helped out this morning the Rec team, Realis, Fash AI, Bear, and the Gamu Gators last night, as well as Ace ends later tonight. So it's a big cohort. The platform is now officially completed 34 migrations. Meanwhile, every other migrating competitor has literally gone to 0 since then. So I kind of understand why, to be completely honest. It's this migration stuff is not easy to do. It's actually not even the technical part. It's the social part of it. It takes 26 hours a day, 14 days a week of just talking and answering the same questions and just being completely amazed at some of the responses at times. But exciting nonetheless. Who else do we have this week? So the Rainmaker team, that's a big one that people are excited about, ends on the 26th. The Cities team ends tomorrow, Christmas Eve, and then the Ace team. And then to end the new year, we have AKA She Rises and the Solaris team. And in between those two, we will have the January 6th migration group. So migrations are just going to keep on raining, working on some pretty large migrations potentially on the back end. Hopefully that some of those can land, because I do think if one of them does make it across the finish line, it's gonna cause some chaos, maybe, to say the least. But it'll be exciting because that's what migrations do. Migrations cause chaos at the end of the day. Each migration group, there's a few larger exchanges that reach out to us, and finally after the 5th time, they're like, okay, I got to figure out what the fuck is going on here, because this is continuing to disrupt my users, which at this point in time, I think is a positive thing, because they're like, okay, you have my attention now, and here it is. It's always a few of them each time. Ratoshi actually had posted an interesting chat or post the other day about all of his migration picks. And essentially what I was looking at, it was like there's like 2 different teams, each migration group, that tend to be like the breakout candidates that just like continue to trend upwards. And if you think about it, everyone wins, but there's 2 that become like the major, right? Like 10x, 20x type ones. And if you have a group of 15 to 20 and you're hitting, 2 to 4 in every group, at 10% to a 20% hit rate that's like 10 times more than what happens in the traditional world.
100%.
Yeah. Which is cool and exciting, to say the least.
Isn't it just like another power law in action? You can apply power laws to basically everything in life, it seems. And here it is once again, 80% of the value comes from 20% of the teams. Once again, 80% of the success rate comes from 20% of the teams. Just insane. It's always amazing how frequently a power law is able to define just any types of data factors, regardless of like the kind of, whatever niche it's in or however it applies, it always seems to apply. And here it is. The power law strikes again.
At again, as it always does. We do have here on stage Mr. Alan Watt from the Rec team that we were chatting with. How are you feeling today, brother? Congrats to making it to the land of Pump Fund.
Hello, guys. Hello. Pretty excited. Everything is moving on. So this is for us a new beginning, a new ecosystem. Everything was like very, very simple for us, very, very smooth. So I'm very grateful with your team for what's coming.
Well, what's coming, brother? First, appreciate the kind compliments. It's awesome to work with you. You guys are very exciting. You were over last time we talked to you, were over in Asia, over at Breakpoint, pitching rec and real estate or tokenized real estate. What are you guys planning on releasing now that you're on Pump?
Well, now that we were on Dubai and that was a nice event, one of the biggest events for Solana. Breakpoint is each year bigger and bigger, and after this migration, we are expecting to like go from the beta phase to the last or the first version of the ETF. So the smart contract is already finished. The performance was as expected, very smooth, very clear. And now what is ahead is to launch the first version official of the ETF. And let's see what is hoping for Reg in the future, because this is a game changer for the entire ecosystem. From now on, DeFi gonna have one more option to develop real estate, and also no matter what kind of market we have, the yield is gonna be steady, will remain the same. Users gonna get between 12 to 18% APY depending on the deal flow. So that is a very, very big thing, and this all is starting like right now.
It says here our ETF. Our ETF is like an ETF-like fund where users deposit funds that are manually allocated across real estate properties. Users receive shares representing their claim on the fund net asset value, the NAV of the real estate building, allowing them to gain exposure to multiple properties without selecting them individually. So if I understand this correctly, essentially users allocate capital and then your team goes and buys real estate in Dubai or various countries and then are distributing yield. Is the yield in form of the token, or is yield in form of the, I guess you'd say, the revenue generated from the properties itself?
Yeah, it's a yield bearing asset, so you only have to hold it. But the mechanics behind this is it's simple, but it's like difficult to manage, and here we are. And the idea is to allow users only with one asset instead of allowing them or give them like many properties to choose, or making a research for each property. And that is a very awful process, the normal tokenization process of each platform. So we want to change from that to a new approach where users only have to make a research for only one asset. And in that asset, we index all the properties. So we have one program that is the normal ETF smart contract where users makes a deposit there, and we allocate part of that money, like between 50 to 60% of that money, into real estate operations. The rest of the money are gonna stay liquid for redemptions. And also we have another wallet that serves, that works as a buffer, where they are able also, that responds to every redemption process. So the idea is make a fully liquid investment on the ETF on only one asset, instead of, for example, locking your money for 5 months till you get your first yields. That on DeFi is not allowed, and I think that's why not many real estate platforms have a good performance on the ecosystem. And I think if we make something good, like if we make the things as must be, we're gonna have a TBL that's gonna be developing real estate on Spain and United States for now. Those two countries, we are open to more countries, but first we have to improve our TBL.
Yeah, I see here, excuse me, there's 5 properties on the website, 2 or 3 in Cadiz, or 4 in Cadiz, Spain, and 1 in San Diego, California, that is a Vine Reserve Club. How does Rec go about sourcing these properties? Is this something that you guys are doing the groundwork for? You're just kind of browsing on Zillow across the world, or is there some sort of formula that the team is using?
Yeah, the formula is always to approach things from the DeFi perspective. So in one sense, the properties on Spain, most of them are flips, and that implies that are properties from small amounts like 200K, 150K, to 300K, and that allow us to fundraise it fast and also having the yields fast. So that is a very nice circle to make things work. Also, on the other side, we have big properties that provide a very appealing ROI. For example, the Vineyard is a big one. That project is almost $30 million on completely, but we divided it on many phases. We make an agreement with Jay from Viva, and we are dividing the total project into many small phases. And right now we are on the phase 2. On the other side, they have other investors also. They have their marketing side, but we offer as an option. And on Spain also we are including right now a boarding club in Galicia, and that is also a big project because that project could provide like 15% ROI for users, if not more than that. So we have a plenty portfolio that have these 2 big projects, and on the other side, small flips like buy refurbishment and sell fast, and that is the whole approach.
Interesting. And so now that you've migrated over to Pump Fund and you're generating, pump swap fees, and there's a token, how are you planning on merging this all together? Is the token for REC just essentially some sort of a dividend token, or is there anything more specific you're thinking in terms of tokenomics?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm here. So I'm A1. I just joined a little bit late. I was having some microphone issues and stuff like that. But yeah, we got a lot of plans for the token. We were just kind of weathering the storm and stuff like that until this migration was complete. Now that the migration is complete, we have a lot of steps forward to take in terms of not just the platform, but the token as well. Some things to keep in mind is that we're coming up with a lot of utilities to integrate the token into the platform. We're going to be taking a direction right as of now. We're going to be taking the direction of our $REC token is going to function more as an ownership token rather than one of these, classic ICM tokens. So we're in the process of making steps forward in that direction, and we'll be making announcements on that. We are also working on our leaderboard system, which is a way that you can earn points by doing different activities within the REC ecosystem. So we're kind of trying to build it all out as an ecosystem rather than just having a token, having a platform, having all these things separate. So the ways that you can earn bricks, how we're coming across it is you have, deposits into the platform. So actually, using the platform, depositing the ETF, generating yields that way. You have referrals, which referrals is probably the strongest way. If you can get a lot of referrals, you're going to be able to farm a lot of points. And then you have holding the REC token itself. So holding the REC token in your wallet is going to give you a direct reward or an increasing reward over time. So if I'm holding, let's say, 1 million REC tokens, I'm going to be farming a certain amount of points based on the tier in correlation to how many tokens I have. And that's also going to help you farm leaderboard spots and stuff like that. And then ultimately, in the end, we're looking at basically rewarding financially through those leaderboard spots from profits we make from the ETF and stuff like that, and kind of making it more of that that ownership sort of vibe.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. It's kind of fascinating how this idea of ownership tokens has really taken over the last 3-4 months as all of these different acquisitions have happened. Past token holders, right, losing out on value, going to zero because it's not being brought into the mix in terms of the new company. ICM was initially supposed to be an ownership token to a degree. At least that was like kind of the promises, and then it kind of faded away as different ICM platforms popped up, the market got competitive, launchpads failed, and kind of now the market's forming together. How do you define what an ownership ticket is, and then how does it separate from, you know, some of the past promises of what ownership tokens may have meant in the earlier half of the year?
So Ali can help me out with this, but essentially the direction that we're thinking right now is kind of taking the rec token into more of a DAO where decisions can be made by the people who are holding. In term, you know, different decisions that can be made, and people know the process of DAOs. You know, kind of taking into that direction, and then also the entire goal here is that okay, if the platform and the ETF and the LP tokens are doing well, which basically we're really doing well right now from our perspective, and we have a lot of things coming up that's basically going to prove that we're doing very well. Um, with that all going well, we want the token holders to also have an impact on that and also have the gains necessary, right? Like we want it to correlate. And that's ultimately the direction that we're trying to go. And we're going to be making announcements on these once everything's prepared. But ultimately, the ownership comes down to, hey, if the platform itself is succeeding, the token should succeed as well, and we're doing our best to make sure that that's evident.
Interesting. Any questions, guys?
Yeah. Who are you seeing like as primarily your token buyers at the moment? Is it more people interested in kind of like your deal flow? Is it more like Web3 speculators that are just kind of maybe tangentially related to real estate and maybe looking for some random exposure there? Or and who do you see maybe as like your future token buyers?
Yeah, so in the past, I would say the Believe ecosystem was a strong one, right? The when we launched and stuff like that, we had a very strong holding. You know, we could see that the people who were sticking around were sticking around for the long run. They're very engaging in the chat. I think we have one of the most amazing communities. I'm sure everyone says that, but I really think that we have an amazing community. Our whales, not just our whales, but just our general Telegram chat or Discord, everyone's always helping each other out. Everyone is very supportive and bullish, and you know, very very strong there. What I'd say is that the next steps that we see going is that you know, there's the speculators, of course. There's always going to be the speculators and traders, but I've always been more the type of person to see these type of ownership tokens and ICM tokens more as an investment rather than a trade, right? I don't see them as like a short-term trade where you're just buying and selling high volume. The goal is more to grow the product and have large gains over time, rather than just like quick pumps and dumps. And that's ultimately the goal that we're going for here. And then also, we are taking steps forward to also go down a kind of Web2 route, which is also going to integrate with the token and stuff like that, which is going to bring in a lot of investors, a lot of eyes and stuff like that. So we're really trying to diversify our, not just our holder base, but our user base as well. And things are going very well in terms of that. So be looking forward to seeing some of that stuff soon.
Well, it's always been like, you know, even from, I don't know, 2016, 17, this idea always, that's what really caught my eye, with this idea that, you know, you could kind of crowdsource or fund, you know, real estate and stuff like that globally, right? Where I could, if I'm in Costa Rica and I want to invest in a place in San Francisco or wherever, I can do it, right? Without having to deal with banks and this and that. I could just buy the token, right? So I appreciate you guys leaning into that. And it feels like, you know, there are going to be some winners in this space, right? It's just like it's early enough where, you know, small teams can actually maybe pull this off.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think the real moat that we have here is one that we're taking a DeFi approach as opposed to other RWA platforms, where we're trying to give the full DeFi experience with our ETF and stuff like that. We started off with the LP tokens. We felt that, you know, just doing this and sticking with this is not going to be a full DeFi experience. So we wanted our main product, the ETF, to be kind of catering towards that DeFi experience. And yeah, it's going phenomenal, and I love the direction that we're going in. Like as you just mentioned, like if I'm originally from the USA, I jump between USA and Japan. But if I wanted to, let's say, buy real estate and make some profits off of the let's say the Spain real estate market. I don't know the first step in doing that. I could probably try to figure it out and stuff, but it seems so complicated when I could, in reality, just like, okay, I can see this portfolio of strong real estate projects. I can deposit some USDC into there, and then I'll have that grow over time. You know, you have liquid options for investments and stuff like that. And then with the point system coming out, you can earn points doing that too. You can do referrals. There's just many ways to earn. And another moat that we have is that, I mean, you can go and see the other similar style DeFi protocols, either on Solana or in all of crypto, and you can see that it's very, very difficult to compete with the yields that we're giving. Right now, we're sitting at an 14% APY, which is not going to be affected. Like, let's say, you know, Bitcoin nukes or something like that, or some crazy event happens. You know, some world political leaders or something say something bearish, and suddenly Bitcoin drops $10,000 something. That's not going to change our APY at all. So that APY is here to stay, and we're really trying to make a route for people to grow their generational wealth without having to worry on really strong assets that we are KYBing and KYCing to the utmost point to make sure that the yields are sustainable, the yields are strong. You know, deal flow. I worked with other RWA platforms in the past, like other RWA startups before working with Rec. Deal flow has always been the major barrier, and with us, deal flow is not an all issue. In fact, we have so many people reaching out to us and stuff that want to list, and we've kept it very, very, very tight, because we're very, very like careful to not put something up that like might not have like a near 100% success rate, you know, which I think is very crucial, and our process is very strong in doing that. So yeah.
Are there any regulatory concerns of buying properties in different countries and then, you know, attaching some form of tokenization to it, and maybe how the different real estate markets are regulated across the world, where you have to be a resident in some areas to actually own the property? Some of them are not allowed to be intertwined with other financial products. Have you guys done any research in that, or are you?
Yeah.
And what's the thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely regulation is a valid concern. With the properties that we currently have and the ones that we're currently working on, they're all, you know, regulatory compliant with how we're doing them. There definitely are opportunities that we see that would require more regulation, but we're tending to steer away from those for right now, just because we don't want to introduce that extra layer of regulation while we're still in the startup phase, especially if once we get into like a more Web 2 side of things, on ramping people and stuff like that, is going to require KYC. But you know, that's a whole different user base, a whole different campaign. But yeah, as of right now, we stick to our guns and kind of do what we know, as opposed to dabbling in something that not that we're not ready for, but that would just like maybe lead to a bump in the road or maybe lead to some delays. So we're avoiding all those complications for now, and kind of focused on what we know and what we can accomplish. And like I said, we have all the deal flow for it, so it's not a worry.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. I've seen all kinds of different forms of real estate attempts in crypto, but now feels like the Regulatory Clarity Act is coming to America. Hopefully, give a little framework, as well as other nations are just becoming a lot more open to different forms of tokenomics and tokenization. So, yeah, I think it's a cool opportunity, and I'm excited for you guys to take that next adventure, especially with ICM moving forward. How do you guys, you know, feel about ICM now that you're over on Pump versus where ICM was 6 months ago? Do you think that the overall market of ICM has a strong outing in 2026 and actually has the ability to, I guess you'd say, move past maybe some of the troubled past that it's had over the last 6 months to a year because of some of the past associations?
Yeah, I definitely. So if you want my personal opinion, I think the start of ICM was all about this narrative of the product is the market cap, and everything was about the market cap, which in a sense for meme coins is true. So they're just being treated as just meme coins that represented a company, and you were gambling on attention. and speculating on attention rather than actual quality or success. And so this transition from these ICM tokens who are now adopting this more ownership mindset makes a lot more sense in a fact that, like, okay, it's more akin to, let's say, owning stock in a company rather than, or owning shares of a company rather than owning the speculative attention of a company. So I really think that the direction that things are moving is definitely a strong one. I will say that the Pump Fund team, especially Rain's Revenge, shout out to Rain, are doing a great job at like kind of supporting this narrative, and definitely we'll be seeing a lot of great things coming from that, especially as all these projects are migrating over. I'm expecting that come, like, it's Christmas time, people are with family and stuff, but come the New Year's, I see a lot of great things happening, not just for our project, but for all the projects, especially if they're adopting that more ownership token mindset, like we are.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting how the market's evolving. And that ICM is pretty much product over token, where it's historically been token over product, because our company's been that way for 10 years, product over token. And it's not been historically at the benefit of the token holders. Although when these different nations and regulatory environments have clarified whatever is possible, I think you do see that pendulum start swinging the other way from attention that's been the main focus over the last 5 years or so, and then back to kind of utility, but branded as something a little bit different. So yeah, it is a little bit cool. And yeah, congrats again, guys, on making it over to Pump Fund. I know it's been a long time coming, and a little bit of probably refreshing. I don't know if you guys have anything else to cover. I'm out of questions from my end. We'll probably continue to talk about the market and such, but I'll give you guys the floor for anything else.
Yeah, I'll just say to anyone listening, stay tuned. This week we got some, good announcements to make, good progress to announce, stuff like that. And then, yeah, moving forward, we're going full steam ahead. Obviously, as with most projects during the migration, we kind of lay low, start building, start reorganizing and stuff like that. And then once this migration completes after this, 2-3 week period, it's full steams ahead. So expect a lot from us, have the highest standards, and we'll continue delivering just as we have since day one.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate it, fellas. We're always one message away from helping. And until then, you have our full backing. It's really awesome to see some people building some unique stuff.
Absolutely. And shout out to you guys. I mean, I didn't have one complaint about the migration process, being a part of the team and stuff. I expected to just have like 1,000 people like, oh, this isn't working. But that was very minimal. So you guys definitely have a solid system down. It was so seamless. So appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, fellas. Again, congrats. And we do have Marco joining us on stage from Prompt Bidder, who is also completing their migration today. What is good, Marco?
Hey guys, thanks for having me up.
Yeah,
how are we doing?
Dude, we're grinding, as you know, every day in, day out, talking with fellow builders, migrations. How are you guys feeling now that the migration is coming to an end and should be wrapping up here, within the next day or so?
Yeah, dude, feeling good. I'm feeling really good. Venkat should be able to get that done tonight. So still hoping to get it migrated over today. But yeah, no, we're feeling good. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited.
Yeah, man. So some of the statistics here for Prompt started on the 9th, ended today. Had about 40% migrating over from the world of Believe, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know there's been some crazy stuff there of them holding tokens back and so on and so forth, but you guys are migrating over to Prompt. I know there's a little bit of a rebranding that's going to happen as well, in terms of moving to Social Radar. So I'd love to hear kind of, the whole, I guess the whole plan for the migration of rebranding to Social Radar, as well as moving from Believe over to Pump Fund.
Yeah, for sure. So for the rebrand, so we started off as Prompt Bidder as a pretty different product. We took a pivot maybe 2 to 3 months ago and took kind of a slice out of our initial model, and we found the most value in that, so we kind of expanded on top of that. That's where our semantic people search comes into play a lot. So yeah, we have socialradar.app is our new product. We're building it out every day. We have an app coming out soon that's kind of like a boiled down version of Social Radar. So users will be able to kind of test it out and see what it's like, and before they show it to their boss or whatever at their company, and hopefully get their enterprise level deal kind of signed up. But yeah, we're super excited about that. That's going to be the next kind of post migration. Next big thing to look for is our public app coming out.
And right here on Social Radar says, engineered to save you hours of prospecting. Social Radar is the best way to search for posts, people, and comments across channels. So from my understanding, then this would be something similar to like Lunar Crush or Sentiment that exists in the crypto world, but this is much more expansive than just finding social intelligence related to token trading. This is something a little bit more.
Yeah. So it's what we like to say is social media monitoring on steroids. So we're seeing every single post on LinkedIn, X, and Reddit right now. We're adding more platforms as we go. Just kind of take some time with that. But yeah, so you can see every single post about you, your competitors. You can find out what's working well for them, what's not. How Backlash is receiving. We're working with actually I should say it's another startup company called SideShift. So they're UGC content creator managers. And they have like a big marketplace and a lot of content creators. And so now they can use us to just solely see every single post about each one of their, larger content creators that's actually being talked about online. And they can have that all in one dashboard and getting some pretty good feedback from them. So that's been fun. And yeah.
Yeah, no doubts. Here on the website, there's a handful of sections. There's something about agents and APIs, the Scout architecture APIs. Let's focus on the agent itself. Is this an AI agent that's built into the platform? And then, just dive in a little bit to how this agent stands out comparative to the rest.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we have we call him Scout V1 is the agent. You can read much more into detail on the socialradar.app/agent platform. Is about a 5-minute read, but yeah. So we have it's a AI agent that scours, and not only so. Other brands that are like us, they're pretty good, but their keyword filtering is, not great. We work with, we're talking to a company called Clay right now. They're like a pretty big go-to-market or GTM platform, and obviously there's a lot of posts online about Clay, the building material, and every kind of project that they've worked with or program can't seem to really get around that. So they're seeing mentions of the building material, like 1,000 to 1 versus mentions of their brand. So our agent is actually able to kind of go into the post and realize this is relevant to the business, this is relevant to what you're wanting to search up, or it's not, and we should just skip over it. And so it can kind of evaluate and rank every post before it actually gives it to you, and so you have only relevant topics and relevant stuff that you want to see.
Yeah, it is. I do have it here pulled up actually here on the live stream. So hardware acceleration, ranked results with rationales, memory-driven conversational follow-ups, and much, much more. So if I wanted to use Social Radar in some capacity, it's essentially just a typical API service, like pay for play, pay for a month, and then you get XYZ amount of requests with the agent and all of the other features.
Yeah, we're kind of working on that a little bit. We're trying to figure out the absolute best plan. Right now, you can actually just sign up for a free 7-day trial and just try out every feature for free. We're thinking, does it make sense to make a pro version? Does it make sense to just have the main product, just have it all be paid for? That's kind of what we're brainstorming right now. Also with like the app coming out, do we want to make that free? Do we want to make a few bucks on that? Like we're kind of in the brainstorm on that right now. But yeah, I like to mention that it's a free 7-day trial. And I think what we're also going to start offering some of our first few clients is money back guarantee. You try us out for a month. If you don't like the results, we'll give your money back and send you on your way. Or hopefully, you can give us some feedback and we can always add features and stuff to their liking. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I see here the iOS app sneak peek that was posted about two and a half weeks ago from the account. So then moving from the product itself to now entering Web3, you guys initially launched on Believe with some moving into the ICM market that's gotten quite popular, to now moving into Pump Fund. give us a little bit of, some history on why move into Believe, the background of how you planned initially to integrate Prompt into the platform, and then now moving over to Pump here in the next 24 hours, what the plans are and how to integrate the token.
For sure. So it's kind of an interesting story. I actually joined the team through Twitter, and I was an investor in Prompt and a couple other early ICM tokens coming out. And I'd sent Rohan a few DMs, and I was just kind of telling him some things that, as a crypto investor, I would like to see, like, a few things, like the DEX wasn't paid, like somebody actually claimed the DEX screener token, and like it wasn't Rohan or either of the founders. So I kind of like exposed them to some of those things, because they knew of crypto and obviously knew what they're getting themselves into, but I don't think they knew in depth what they were really getting themselves into. So I was kind of that eye-opening conversationalist with them, and then that eventually led to him just kind of signing me on the team and helping out with the socials and stuff like that. But yeah, plans for, let's see. I've been talking to him. We're gonna write up a new I don't know if the right word, a white paper and like a crypto utility plan. Originally it was just gonna be, you can pay for the service with Prompt, you can pay for like our extended use with Prompt. You can push back the 7-day deadline of the free trial. You can get a few extra days if you can prove to us that you're a holder, etc. But I really want them to start kind of looking into some cooler ways to implement the token, as well as, we talked about buybacks, we talked about some other cool things, but there's so much more we can really do to incorporate it and not feel like it's going to take away from the product. Because that's one thing we definitely have been working with. We saw a couple projects that have recently lost contracts just because of their affiliation with crypto, because or their affiliation with Believe or with crypto in general and stuff. And we want to obviously avoid that, but we want to be able to reward the holders as well too. So we're going to take this last kind of week of December and early 2026, kind of perfect the plan and really get it out there. And I think having me on to have these conversations with them as a crypto investor, and what would I want to see, what do I think would be most beneficial for the holders, being a holder myself and originally just a holder. I think that'll be really cool, and I think people should be excited for that, what we come out with. I'm gonna really grind in their heads like some cool ideas and stuff. So hopefully to get them a little more active in the crypto space as well. I know Venkat's he hasn't been super front facing, but I want to get him out more. It was majority his idea to even release the token, so I want to get him more included and get some cooler ideas flowing through their ads.
Sage old question of, are you a product company or a token company, and how do you continue to mix them moving forward?
Exactly.
Adam or Chris, any questions?
Mostly just think it's pretty interesting what you guys are doing. Think that the token really can be a benefit, really moving into this next generation of where both of these industries are kind of going. But yeah, I would like to see more like, buybacks. And I think there's like some cool staking or stake to use the platform opportunities you guys might be able to use or things of that nature. But
Exactly.
I think I was going to recommend that we probably should sign up for a free trial and check it out.
Yeah, no, please do. And yeah, let me know. I can, we can extend your free trial, whatever. We can have some conversations with Rohan and show you guys a little bit more in depth too on the back end kind of stuff. But yeah, I've been talking to them too with the app coming out. Like we have some cool stuff on it. I'll mention one thing. We have like a crossword section in our app. So I'm wondering, like, I'm trying to make some competitive edge, and also include a little bit of crypto into that, like a leaderboard kind of thing where, the top 100 people get a certain amount of, shares potentially or something like that. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some cool ways to incorporate it in more. So definitely some cool stuff coming, but can't really say anything for sure yet.
Well, I'm wondering if, we should, give it a try and Hustle. Basically have Hustle access the API and, look at it from an informational perspective. And that could be depending on how it goes for us, that may be an angle for you. Just all these AI agents are looking for, alpha, just enhanced information, right?
Right.
Yeah, that'd be cool to try out for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We can definitely have a conversation. We can send you whatever links you need and want to see, and have a chat with the founder in more depth like that. Yeah, for sure.
Do you guys use the actual Twitter API? Is that where you're getting I saw that you have LinkedIn and some other data sources. Are you guys using the Twitter API itself, or where are you guys at with that?
Yeah, so I'm not a builder. I'll say that. I couldn't tell you exactly how it works, but I believe, yeah, we scrape data and using the API of each platform. And yeah, like I said, right now it's just Reddit, LinkedIn, and X, but expanding to more platforms, we're trying to work on, it's going to be difficult, but I think we can get into YouTube and TikTok, even though those are, video formats, there's still plenty of information being shared. So if our agent can, watch the video, learn enough, really get a good summary on that, then I think we can incorporate that as well. But, just a lot of cool things coming. I want to stress that. Like, we have a lot of cool ideas that just are being all built in by our small 3-person team. So
where are you guys seeing the biggest data flow from that might be the most interesting? Like, are people kind of querying LinkedIn more than they might be X or Reddit, or where's like
yeah, I would say Reddit is our biggest, just because how Reddit's so huge. I mean, people are talking about everything on Reddit, in terms of sports, in terms of health, in terms of financial advice. Like, it's so broad that's definitely the most. But yeah,
I feel like we don't even really consider Reddit when we use Hustle or anything like that. I mean,
yeah,
so much of it's just like completely user generated, and there's like a lot of I don't know,
And that was the heyday of crypto back when we got in 2016, 17.
exactly.
It was the only
But I think Reddit kind of gets a bad rap too with some of the odd stuff on the site. But no, there's so much. I mean, people are just especially in 2025. I mean, people are just becoming more and more vocal online, and that's exactly the kind of post we want to see, because you can use our service to find people. Like, you say, let's say you're a financial advisor, and I want to find people, new grads that are struggling with paying off their loans, and you can find anybody posting about that on Reddit or X or whatever, and you can reach out directly, or kind of I don't know, yeah, you can reach out directly or kind of figure out a plan to get best in contact with them, and you can even use our semantic search to even find their information. So just things like that. Like, it's a good tool, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys, man. I really don't have any other questions. I see that you guys are cooking. I'm waiting for the migration and for you guys to make it over to Pump Fun. I guess maybe just one final thing is, once you move over to Pump, you're now in competition, or even in collaboration with potentially hundreds of teams, or who are in that ecosystem. How is Social Radar thinking about positioning yourself among competition and maybe even friendly collaboration?
Yeah, I mean, I've always tried to be open to partnerships and having those conversations. I know both my founders are very, very product focused and just kind of always building, always having conversations. So in terms of like crypto directly, we haven't really given that much effort. But I am having these conversations with some teams. I am talking about some partnerships. I can't say that it turned into anything, but I had a conversation with Bobby from Dupe and like just talked about like our product and stuff with him and seeing if there's a partnership there, but just stuff like that. Like, I'm having these initial conversations, but perfecting the product, getting it out as best we can, I think is more important first, and then we can kind of see how we can help out other projects or compete. And I love competition, man. Like, I've been in sports my whole life. Like, this kind of stuff is just right up my alley, and I love it.
Yeah, completely. I know that feeling very directly over the last few years. But Marco, appreciate you for coming on, man. Awesome that you guys are making it across the finish line. It's been a grind for all of the migrating teams. Very close to the end, but all starting off. We're going to be starting off 2026 quite hot, and we hope that the market comes back. But whether the market is going up or the market is going down, we all continue to grind, because we are builders first, building product focused companies, and then you attach some tokenomics on top of it. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, I just want to say too, you guys have been super great, super helpful. I mean, even comparing it to Believe, like it's a no-brainer that we should be working with you guys. And anyone else, if you have a project, you're on the verge, I would definitely recommend at least having a conversation with these guys, because they have been super great, and we've had pretty much no issues from our holders or anything. We've had a couple people come in just confused, but I was able to just easily show the messages you guys sent, and it's figured out within a few minutes. So you guys have been super great and super helpful. So I thank you guys for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it. And we are going to wrap it up here, as Christmas is 2 days from now. So we won't be hosting a show on Thursday. So everyone, go celebrate it with your families, or go celebrate it with your friends. Take in the holidays. Our last show of the year, we're hosting next Tuesday. we're going to be reviewing our 2025 predictions from last year and then making some 2026 predictions. Adam said that Bell's coin is going to $69. So we're hoping so for the sake of all of our bags.
Cents. No.
Is that where it's at now? Is that 69 cents? What's it at?
No, it's probably at like 6 cents.
6.9 cents.
0.7 cents, baby.
Good times to say the least. Appreciate everyone. Have a fun and safe holiday weekend. We'll see you guys next week. And also look out for all of the migrations that are wrapping up here over the next 48 hours or so, heading into New Year's as January 6th will be a group of about 10 people. Until then, have a fun and safe one, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Later, guys.
Merry Christmas, guys. Later.